The search committee is recommending for the position of superintendent both Mr. Salvador Avila and Mr. Vince Leon Guerrero.
Guam Education Board Superintendent Search Committee Chair Paul Pineda today announced that Salvador Avila and Vince Leon Guerrero are the committee's top choices for the next superintendent of the Department of Education. It is now up to the board as a whole to decide which candidate to pick as the new superintendent. The search committee had been asked to name 3 candidates out of the original 10 applicants, but Pineda says the committee could only come to a consensus on 2 names.
The third person was recommended by both Dr. Cruz and Mr. Raji. Myself, Nate Camacho, and Dr. Anita voted no for this individual. And so we were going by majority vote, and so it was two yes and 3 no. Now, it's up to the board if they want to.
Board member Joe S. San Augustine made a motion that the committee also release the third name for consideration by the board, but the motion was voted down. Members instead voted to accept the committee's recommendation of Mr. Avila and Mr. Leon Guerrero as the top candidates. GEB Chair Francis Santos says the board will now conduct interviews with the 2 candidates before naming the new superintendent.
We're going to give ourselves 60 days. If we can arrive at a decision on the candidates and the selection of a new superintendent, the board will meet and inform, of the next superintendent.
Current superintendent Narissa Underwood will leave the department after her contract ends on Friday. The board voted to name Talene Titano as the interim superintendent for a time not to exceed September 30th. Titano says her top priority is to make sure that schools are ready to receive students on August 9th.
Well, we're really anxious to reopen or to get the inspections for Southern and Sanchez out of the way. We need to get some critical contracts in place, like the food services contract, and we certainly need to make sure that the schools are ready for opening.
And with this being her last education board meeting, Underwood thanked the board and her staff for all of their support.
I want to go on the record that I couldn't have completed this contract as difficult as things have gotten if not for my deputies, Talene and Arlene, and also even then we had Chris Anderson, who also stepped in to serve as acting capacity, and of course our school leaders and our support division leaders. So once again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity.